Welcome back, everyone. If you're new here, my name is Bryan Jenks, and today I'm going to tell you about my favorite tools and applications that help me with my ADHD and dealing with life when I have ADHD. So as I've talked about at length on my channel, living with ADHD has a myriad of struggles and things that are just made more difficult when you have a neurodivergent condition like ADHD. So how do you get around some of these shortcomings, difficulties, roadblocks? A lot of what I've turned to is software. There's a lot of tools and applications out there that some are specifically geared towards people with ADHD, and others I just find work well for me. This is not going to be for everybody because what may work for me may not work for you, and the presentations of different people with ADHD are all different. If you've met one person with ADHD, you've met one person with ADHD. We're not all the same. So what works for me might or might not work for you, but hopefully some of these tools and applications will be helpful to you. And although I'm going to provide links for all of these things, like affiliate links and whatever to support the channel if you decide to use the applications through those links. None of these tools, applications, or anything listed are things that I didn't use before and actually heavily do use. It's not just throwing out links out there to try and make some quick money. This is actually stuff that I actually use. And when I use something and really enjoy it, and I talk about it a lot, why wouldn't you then go and try and, hey, I'm going to support you, obviously, but hey, why can't I do something? So if you go through the links and try out the applications, it helps me out, but the links are not there simply to be there. These are just things that I use that I wanted to support and figured, why can't I do the same for myself too in the process? So hopefully you enjoy what I'm going to show you today. The best ways to support the channel are, if you're going to do it on an ongoing basis, GitHub sponsors because they take no fees, followed by Patreon. If you're going to do like a one-time thing, buy me a coffee, PayPal, or just fine. And if you just want to support me without any money involved, the best thing you can do is like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and that's it. All right, first application up on the block, Textsniper. Now, I've talked a lot about Textsniper, and it is absolutely one of the essential applications in my workflow today. Namely because it's not a task manager, it's not something that I can live my life off of, it's just something, it's like an accessibility tool that has just become essential for me. One thing with ADHD that I struggle with is reading long form documentation, long pieces of text. Even just like, I'm enjoying a nice book, if I see a paragraph, I might read that paragraph 5 times before I actually retain what the heck was said in the book. But even just following along with long form text is difficult. And along with a couple other useful aspects of Textsniper is the fact that I can actually take screenshots of text, so I can pick how much at once that I want to actually have it processed, and it can actually read it back to me, and I can change the rate of speed of which it reads back to me. So it can be fast or it can be slow. And the benefit of this is that I can actually take a screenshot of text, try and read it myself, and as I'm actually reading, it's auditorily reading it back to me as well. So I have the visual component and I have the auditory component, which ends up being enough stimulation sometimes, usually, for me to actually retain and focus enough on the text to actually internalize it and digest the text, which is really essential for me with school, because if I'm reading these large textbooks on technical material, having it read back to me as I'm reading it is a godsend. And this is actually something I've tried to get as an accommodation at work, and the software on Windows is not comparable, but Textsniper is Mac only. I'm probably going to end up making a Python tool of this just to be cross-platform, because this is an absolute essential thing that I rely on now as like an accessibility accommodation for my ability to read. So let's actually take a look at it. So I have just an empty document here, and I got a program in the bottom left, so you can see the very few keys I press. So if I start typing some stuff, this is some text, and let's get it in the middle. Okay, so we have some text in here, and let's make it a little bit bigger so it's visual. There. So that. So now I'm going to say, let's just copy that. So I'm going to say Control-C for copy, Control-C, or Command-C. So now if I paste it, Command-V, V, V, it's the same word, obviously. Now, what I love about Textsniper is that I can, now if I run the command, you can just run the command and launch it from Alfred, click on the button, whatever. There's some cool stuff with Textsniper, but check this out. I actually have my MX Master 3 mouse has a couple programmable keys. One of them is a trigger for Textsniper. So I press this little button, Textsniper is active. If Textsniper is active and I press the second button, it switches on and off and toggles the read back to me mode. So let's check this out. If I press the first button just to activate, you can watch my cursor and it will change into a little crosshair, and it says like the grid coordinates, but cool. Take a screenshot of text. Cool. Here's one cool thing is that if you just want to copy paste something, you can't select the text, or it's like a PDF. Sometimes PDFs won't let you select text or whatever. It's all no holds barred because it's OCR, optical character recognition. It just copy it, run machine learning on it, give me the text. It's on your clipboard, paste. Now I have that text on my clipboard, so you can easily copy and paste with Textsniper. But the bread and butter of this that just makes my life so much easier is the reading mode, which is what I use for school. So activate it, and then I'm going to press the second button on my mouse, and bam, now on, text to speech. Now I can select that, and
this is some text.
There you go. And that is it. Now, if I go over to my menu here and I do the Textsniper options, there's a couple different things in here. Now, I have text to speech toggled on, obviously. But if I go to preferences, let's see, custom words, shortcuts, where's the stuff I want to know? Capture text. You can also have it set to a key binding, so it can do that. Now there is there it is. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Text to speech rate. This is why this is so wonderful, is that this will actually let you change how fast you want the text read to you. And you heard it, mine was pretty fast because I need a high rate of reading done to me, but I'm only like halfway on this bar. So if you can handle and need more, you can totally do that. And Textsniper, not very expensive. It's like a one-time purchase, and it's like $8 to $12, I think, something like that. It's super affordable, and it's something it's just essential for me. I cannot live without this application or some variation of it these days. So the fact that I'm struggling with this kind of a problem on other platforms is why I'm probably going to end up making my own Python version of this for it to be cross-platform if I can't find a comparable and decent tool that is comparable to this. So Textsniper is essential for me and my reading and comprehending what I'm reading. So check it out. The next essential part of my life and the apps that I use is obviously Todoist. Todoist is simply the thing that runs my life next to my calendar. I have my calendar and Todoist open next to each other all the time. And I have several things that I do with that. I have an iPad right here, my old iPad, that I just have on a little stand, and I just keep it alive without turning off ever. And all it does is display Todoist and my calendar at all times. And so I can constantly just go here, move through my tasks at all times throughout the day. But Todoist is an amazing application, and I'm making a completely dedicated video about it coming soon, and how I use it, because there's a lot more that I've done with it since I've done a couple collaboration talks with other people, and I decided I wanted to actually codify and move through Todoist and decide this is how I'm going to use it, and actually make concrete documentation about that for myself. So basically, I've made my workflow and decided what that's going to be, and I'm trying to stick to that. So I'll go over what that is in the future. But Todoist, simply amazing, so many great features, and it's actually how I'm doing the script for this video, even. So Todoist is my task manager, and I only recently found out I could actually sign up for their affiliate program. But in any case, Todoist is simply amazing, and I rely on this for everything. I have multiple projects where I drop tasks. I have labels where I kind of do Kanban-ish thing. I have my daily view, and this is really what runs my life, is because I have everything in my daily view. Things to remind me to like take my breaks at work, because I forget about those things when I'm hyperfixating on work, or just my habits and things I need to do, like feed the cats, things I need to remind myself to do. Like everything goes in Todoist. If it doesn't exist in Todoist, it doesn't exist to me. And if it's not on my calendar, I'm not doing it. If it's not in Todoist, I didn't need to capture it. If it's important, it's either on my calendar or it's in Todoist. And this is how I run my life. So I'm going to be making a dedicated video about this, but Todoist is simply an amazing application for managing your tasks into projects, tagging them with labels, using NLP dates, or natural language processing dates. So I can say, I want to actually do a quick capture of a task, and it has this modal pop-up that you can do anywhere on your system. There's automations you can do with your phone. Like there's all kinds of stuff you can do with this. But I can do things like saying just today, and now it recognizes that I'm talking about this current day, and it's going to use natural language processing. Like you can see here, it's a little bit highlighted, and it's going to automatically assign it to today and do the thing. Enter and done. A task was just captured. So for quick capture, if you're like a note taker, PKM, you want to remember certain things going on and whatever, it's amazing for quick capture. NLP dates means that you're going to have an easy time of scheduling, no like calendar pickers or anything. There it is for today. Done, and the task is done. And it's simply my favorite way of doing tasks. Now I may return and do more with Task Warrior in the future when I return back to my Linux machine, but Todoist is simply just a wonderful, amazing tool that I love to use, and it runs my life. Now I already mentioned it, but the other application that really runs my life along with Todoist, which I primarily use for tasks, but is my calendar. Now I used to use iCal on macOS, and honestly I'm not really too tied to any calendar application. I used CalCurse on Linux. I've used Google Calendar for a hot minute, iCal, Outlook, that doesn't really matter to me. But Morgen is my new app of choice, and I love Morgen, and I'm really excited to see its future too. I made a dedicated video about Morgen not too long ago, and I love this tool because it also gives me a lot of functionality that I wasn't getting from a lot of the other calendar applications, and it just jives for me. And the developers and the CEO are super responsive to feedback and are quick to implement awesome changes. And because I use Todoist so much, they actually have an integration now in beta for Todoist tasks that are amazing. So I can drag these things onto my calendar and make blocks for my tasks and complete them as time blocks. So I can literally just use Todoist and Morgen at the same time together. They also have the ability to create scheduling links like Calendly does. The only downside still is that you can't do any payment processing stuff through this. But if you're just going to do meetings with somebody or set dates and times, this is a great way to do it. And it's so painless. It's really awesome. And then finally, there's just like a lot of additional views that you can get. Like I'm in a week view here. I can do like the X key binding. I can get 2 weeks. I can do M for a month. I can do D for a day. It's awesome. And then if I click on these calendars, I can actually select which of my calendars I want to see, and I can even add key bindings to show me groups of calendars all at once. It's an amazing flexible calendar application that really just makes managing my life easier. And with the new Todoist integration to help with time blocking of my existing tasks and task system that is already in Todoist, chef's kiss. It is amazing for basically running my life because it's those two applications. The bulk of everything that I do is managed by Todoist and Morgen. So check out the power pack. The next tool that helps me do something very simple, and you're maybe seeing a trend here of just like managing my time, reading, writing, basic things are things that I actually struggle with, and so rely on these applications to help me with. And sometimes you just find a really great thing that you just didn't expect to actually have such a great impact on you. And that's where Gingkoapp comes into play. So I discovered Ginkgo by chance, and it's an application that, and you can see my custom Grovebox styling going on here. If I kept it original, it's pretty bright, and you'll see me get like, ugh, by the light of this on the default setting, like if you see the example. But Ginkgo is an amazing tool because of its unique take on writing and the workflow. So pretty bright. So I have my own custom formatting on stuff. But what I love about Ginkgo is that it's a card-based columnar writing tool. And what that means is this tool will actually let you write content in cards. These cards live in columns, but the cards are also children of other cards. So the more you get into this nested hierarchy, I guess, of cards, the more deeper you get into your content. So you could have subject headings, you could have topics, and then delve into those topics into paragraphs, and from paragraphs into sentences, and you can rearrange the cards modularly. But what I really enjoy about this application is simply its ability to let me break down all of this long form writing that I already struggle with to read into blocks that I can then easily write. And this example is a prime example of this. And plus it also lets me use Vim keys, which is amazing. So I'm using like HJKL, and I'll show you my key bindings here in the bottom left when it loads. But Ginkgo will actually let you use like Vim keys. So I can do, J and K, and I can now navigate into progressive depth of my content. And even across different subject areas in these columns, I can just continue to navigate. But this is like a paper that I wrote for school, and it lets me actually break down the writing that I need to do into bite-sized chunks to help me navigate and focus in on a particular piece of content that I need to write. So instead of just seeing a giant blank page and thinking, oh crap, I need to write a paper, I can just make my outline, make progressively more granular outlines, then start filling in paragraphs and sentences, follow the prompts, and now I have all this content that ends up forming like a 4-page paper that I wasn't even keeping track of. It just formed because I was able to say, I'm writing this particular card right now. And I could easily just take this card and I could add more to it, make a child, do that with hotkeys. I could do this with hotkeys. And even with hotkeys, I can move these cards around. And, I could just click and drag the card too, move it to where I want it to be. So if you can even dynamically change where this content lives. It's just, and the best part is the developer is pretty awesome. There's also a payment paradigm around it that you can pay what you want. So you could pay as little as $2. You could pay as much as you like, and it actually shows you like this is how much the developer is making off of this project, and this is how much goes to charity because a portion of it goes to charity. I'm actually not sponsored, no affiliate with anything with Ginkgo, but it's simply one of the most amazing ADHD tools that I found, and I recommend it highly. I've done at least one video on it before. Do check it out. It is really what saves my bacon when I am trying to write a paper nowadays for school, or just do even my newsletters. Like I write my newsletters with Ginkgo because there's no other way I could actually write things without using this kind of format anymore. It makes sense, it jives, and it has completely ruined the traditional method of writing for me. Yeah, Ginkgo rocks. Now, admittedly, this is not one I've been using myself. I've heard about it. They're kind of all over the place, and they reached out to me, and I actually really like the premise of what they offer. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Shortform. Now, Shortform is basically the Spark Notes or TLDR, too long didn't read, literally, of books. Now, if you want to read a book, or you don't know if you want to read a book, and you want to quickly get the high-level overview, the bullet points, and just a quick summary of what a book is about, then this is a great tool and platform for you. Now, what I like about it and how it's going to help me personally, and it actually has a dark mode interface, thankfully, because otherwise I would be blinded, is that let's just say I'm interested in a book and I want to quickly see the highlights and If that's enough information for me, great. I don't have to try and battle my executive dysfunction to sit down and actually do what I enjoy anyways, is reading. And maybe I just can't get around to it and read a 350-page book or whatever, but I can get the actual important points of something. But you can have your own library of books. You can be reading a bunch of different things you finished, favorites, stuff that you have going on. You can even listen to things. There's more to poke around in here, and I haven't looked at it too heavily, but I was looking at, for instance, one of the Malcolm Gladwell books. I love Malcolm Gladwell's books. I've read most of them. And it's really awesome about like just summarizing this information into concise, bite-sized chunks that really cover the meat and potatoes of a book and what it's trying to cover. So even if you just want an additional take on information that you've already read in the book, working this into your book reading workflow is still probably a really cool idea, because you can see a really great analysis of this that could help with your own like note-taking or your own opinions and views of a particular work. And combine that with things like, Kindle, audiobooks, all different other facets of reading. This is a great tool to have in the toolbox. And the caveat already said, I have not been using this too heavily, but I think it's really interesting, especially if you want to know more about like the value you can get out of books, but you've struggled to read because of executive dysfunction or whatever you have going on. This could be a great thing for you. Get the lessons and the important aspects of the novel to you without having to sit down and read 350 pages to try and glean them for yourself. Sometimes just having that summary presented to you is a very valuable thing. Combine that maybe with Textsniper reading, like my strategy, and maybe this could be the way that you easily digest a lot of valuable knowledge from a lot of very interesting books. Shortform, check it out. So I hope you found this video interesting. These applications really do make my life a lot easier. It helps me manage things. It keeps me from being stressed out. I always know where I can find things that I was supposed to remember, because if I was supposed to remember them, they go into Todoist. If I need to know what I'm going to do, if I'm available, or what I have going on in the next week, so I can plan and prepare and put more tasks in Todoist, I check my calendar, which is Morgen. And if I need to write, if I need to read, I use Textsniper and Gingkoapp. And this is how I manage to be so productive, get so much done, not kill myself through stress and run myself into the ground, is simply because I outsource a lot of this activity, all this memory thinking, all this stuff to software. I externalize my mind into software. My notes and thoughts and second brain, all that stuff is in Obsidian and Dendron, and managing my life is in these applications. And then there's like just things that are great for accessibility and accommodation, like Textsniper and Gingkoapp, that really just make my life easier with the things that I struggle the most with. So hopefully some of these actually will help you. You find interest in them, you want to try them. If you want to support the channel more, you can do that by trying out those applications through the links I'll leave in the description and pinned comment. And hopefully you found them interesting. I really hope you enjoy them. And if you have used them before, if they've helped you, let me know in the comments. And if you have even some ideas of stuff else that I could try or that I might like, leave that in the comments too. I'd love to take a look at it. So until next time, I'll catch you in the next one.